Hello and welcome to P2PDrive. My name is Johnny Arena and I am the Capstone 2 lead for this project. We had a lot of fun working with this project and we were able to get a lot of the core functionalities down and working. But there were also a lot of features that we wanted to implement, but we just didn't have the time to implement, or we didn't have the proper um, knowledge to get it working. So here's a little list of the shortcomings that should be worked on in the future. So, for example, we have our settings feature for user customization and personalization. So our web application runs in two parts. Or it has a public pages, which is the launch page. The launch page includes the home page, the about me, and then the Swagger UI documentation. But then after you log in and you're authenticated by the token system that we created, you are then verified and you will be allowed access to the dashboard. The dashboard also includes the home page and the file section. So this dashboard section was supposed to include a settings feature. This settings feature was supposed to include customization, personalization, account information, password changes, your typical account settings that would be provided to a user for a better user experience. Um, because of time constraints, we weren't able to get that done. Um, the next feature that we wanted to add was we wanted to add a status method to display on the homepage, that the same user homepage. So with IPFS has this API that displays the incoming connections, so the network traffic of your node, and as such would it would show you the peers, the connection speeds. It would show you the latency. It would show you the IP address that which are connected to your computer, where they're from. It has a lot of details that we would have liked to add, but when we tried to implement the API, for some reason we only got one response, and it was just a three-digit number. Turns out that three-digit number was a connection ID that you're given, that your daemon is given, or your node is given at that moment. So we weren't able to figure that one out, but it can definitely be implemented for future um, development. Another feature that we wanted to include was accepting folders and directories as upload documents. So it's it became very difficult to it became very difficult to add folders, like if you wanted to add a bunch of files, adding a whole folder of things, it did not accept it. It would always give us an error, and the reason it doesn't accept it, from what we gathered, is that it doesn't. Folders are not treated the same way as files are. Files have a location or a content ID, or I mean, sorry, a location, a physical location, and then folders don't are a directory, but they don't really have a physical location to reference to, and thus that made it a little difficult for us to figure out how to upload folders and those, upload folders and directories. We did find a runaround, which is if you zip the directory, it then becomes a file and it becomes a physical location. So that was our workaround, but for future versions, we would have liked to add a way of just automatically uploading a folder to the system. Um, and last but not least, we wanted to work on work on the encryption system. We had to resolve, because of MongoDB being our database. we had to resort to MD5 because it is one of the most common uh, encryption methods the encryption methods that Mongo likes to work with. The problem with that is that MD5 is outdated at this point. Um, the thing is that since it won't affect the running of your application, but it is a security risk for future for when this program does reach what is it for this when this program reaches sorry, got my tongue tied right now, deployment phase. There we go. So what we wanted to implement was a better encryption system, which was AES. But because of the time constraints, we were not able to resolve that, and we were not able to figure out how to get the new encryption system to work with Mongo database. Ideas for that would probably be either a database change or finding a runaround to get AES or a better encryption system working with Mongo database. So all that being said, there's still plenty more things that we did not include in this list that can be added to the IP to our P2PDrive API. And there's a lot of functionalities that there's a lot of APIs that IPFS offers that could also be implemented into our API as well, that would improve the overall user interaction and the user experience for our program. So there's plenty of room for development, but as of right now, we're very focused on just getting the main core functionalities working. Again, this is Johnny Arena with P2PDrive. Thank you for watching.